Hey guys, doing a question and answer today. I said there'd be one coming for a while, and I planned on doing a lot of them at once, but an interesting question came in from Jackie S. And it is, I'm working really hard on my meditation and being the best version of myself that I can be. My friend just told me that I should not be in a relationship until I figure myself out first. What are your thoughts? Um, that's an interesting situation, interesting question. I've often said and always say that it's important, probably the most important thing you can do to actually know yourself and know who you are. The issue I have with putting life on hold until you figure everything out is that if you're living properly and trying to constantly grow, trying to constantly evolve, like, when is that end point? When do you say, okay, now I've figured myself out, now I can move on? A lot of times I see people come into the dojo or they come with questions and they are kind of in this constant state of, I'll start, for instance, they're going to start the program when they get in shape. Then they'll be able to practice. Or they're going to start a workout program once they lose a few pounds. If you don't have a tangible plan, then it's likely and probably more probable that you're going to be in the same situation that you are now. If you knew how to figure yourself out, if you knew how to get in shape, if you knew how to do all these things, you wouldn't be having this discussion, right? And so I think that the trick is to really focus on yourself. Try to get to know yourself, and that you do that with your introspection, with your meditation, spending some time alone, seeing what it is that you really want out of life, seeing who you are. But I don't recommend necessarily putting everything else on hold while you figure that out, because it's not obvious that you'll be able to actually do so. And then a year from now, you'll be in the same situation and still, quote unquote, figuring yourself out with nothing real to show for it. I've got a friend who recently dropped out of school. He was in a program and it wasn't for him. And he said that he wanted to work on himself prior to actually going forward with the schooling. And on its face, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing that I asked him to do was to make sure, what does work on yourself mean? Are you seeing a psychiatrist? Are you diving deeper into your meditation practice? Are you reading the right books? You need to have an actual tangible plan, something that you can go after, put your hands on, and say, instead of doing this, I'm doing that. That doesn't mean just waste time. And so once we kind of put together this list and this action item plan, he made the decision to stop, and I think it was the right decision. He did a great job. But what I didn't want to see was, September 1st, 2019, he's still just, quote unquote, figuring himself out. And we can fall into these patterns pretty easily if we're not careful. So what I would say specifically for relationships, an ideal relationship, there's no such thing as somebody who comes without baggage. All of us have things that have happened to us in our life, experiences we have that are unique. So you're not going to be somebody with no baggage. You're not going to find somebody who has no baggage. You want to find a partner who will help you unpack it, right? It's not that they certainly aren't supposed to make the load any heavier. If anything, they help you kind of sort it out. But you absolutely have to spend that time also working on yourself, sorting it out yourself. And then you find somebody you can kind of grow with. I mean, that's the ideal relationship, be it a friendship, a romantic relationship, whatever, where you guys are actually adding to each other's life. So unless there's a serious issue, something that would prevent you from really opening up at all, or being present in a relationship, I don't know that sitting on the sidelines is always the right thing to do. You have to live your life. You have to be in the moment. So I would say continue to work on yourself, continue to work on your meditation. Once you kind of have a little bit of an idea of where you're going and you can at least point in the right direction, then I would dive in and try to live life. And that doesn't mean you've got to be careful that you're not finding your fulfillment, finding your purpose. I think what your friend is afraid of is that oftentimes we meet these people, and if we're not anchored in who we are and what our values and what our core values are, we tend to just kind of latch on to whatever's around us. And then, so this person's into partying, or this person's into drinking, drugs, whatever it is, and then you start doing that, or you become a person who's not really you in order to fit in with whomever it is you're around. And that's no good. But that's gonna happen if you have no idea of who you are. But that doesn't mean a deep understanding where you have to wait until you're done, done figuring that out before you can live your life. I personally discover new things about myself all the time, and every day. I mean, you should be working to be a better person every single day. It's not something you finish. That's why you practice martial arts. You never practice and then you get to black belt, black sash, and you're done. That's the completely wrong attitude. It's got to be that you're working on evolving, and that's why martial arts, the practice, the meditation is so representative of life and how it should be lived. So I think you take that same attitude, but don't sit on the sidelines. Don't fall into know enough that you're not completely losing yourself and losing who you truly are in order to make a certain person like you or to fit in with a certain group of people. But you don't have to go live on an island and then come back, 10, 15 years later, and now you're ready to face the world, because that day's never going to come. There's going to be new challenges that face you tomorrow that you didn't have to deal with today. And so you're going to have to learn in that moment who you are. And if you have a general understanding of the type of person you want to be, of what your core values are, you try to find somebody that matches up with that. And that's what you do. It's not something where you're hiding. And so I think the statement is good natured, and I think that the advice is meant from a positive place. But I see too many people fail to live life so that they can quote unquote get ready. And that just doesn't make any sense. So figure out who you are, spend some time alone, work on yourself, but not too much time, and then try to find somebody who matches that and helps you to be a better version. I think that's how I would deal with that.